So I want to thank you both, and I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there. I want to make sure we thank the secretary for all he's done to try to implement what we just talked about, and for recommending these two women for promotion. Thank you all, and God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
Oh my. You know, you don't want to make fun of the elderly. You don't want to make fun of anyone losing their cognitive abilities, but no, I'm not going to say but, because I'm not going to go there. It's because it's really not that funny, is it? It's really not that funny. I mean, in that 20 seconds, he forgot like three very important points that have to do with his administration, and that's sad. That's sad, and we're getting to a point where it's hey, Ada Jet Noise, that's me. Ada Jet Noise on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Ada Jet Noise, ADA Jet Noise. You can certainly see that when you punch in. You can find me. You can find all my wackiness in my videos. Happening on those particular formats, and basically all I'm doing, what you're experiencing here, is a learning process. Not only me learning to do this in front of you, taking that little leap, but us learning together what is happening, trying to keep you guys informed. I don't have to be right. I just have to start the conversation. So what you get out of me should inspire, thought. The common guy thought. The common person. And what you're going to get from me is what you're not getting, in many cases, on your cable news. That, we can challenge what we see in the cable news together. And we can hopefully open up enough of our minds to get back into a better direction with this country. Our cognitive thoughts. Back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden, in that clip, was supposed to be thinking, by the way, the two ladies, General Ovost, Air Force, General Air Force, and Laura Richardson, for the Army, Lieutenant General. So General Ovost and Lieutenant General Richardson. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for your service. By all means, God bless you. We love you guys. We hope that things go absolutely swimmingly for your careers as generals in our military. So Biden, that clip came from Biden making that announcement. Good photo op for the president, saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm helping women because I'm awesome." And then he forgets Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. If he weren't a schmuck like me, I could understand If you're the regular schmo, you're not going to know off the top of your head that Lloyd Austin is the Secretary of Defense. So yeah, I can see you not knowing whose name it is. But this is the top guy that the Biden administration, that Biden supposedly himself said, hey, this is the guy I want to run our military. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. He forgot that. He forgot the position of Secretary of Defense in that clip. He forgot the position. He forgot Lloyd Austin's name, Secretary of Defense Austin, and he forgot the Pentagon in that clip. In that clip, you don't want to make light of this kind of thing. You can't. This is the man that is supposed to be the face, the mouth, the so-called leader of our country. The top service guy, which is actually should be the title. You know, number one service guy, head waiter, whatever you want. But it's supposed to be the top service guy. We like to call them leaders, but they're supposed to be serving us. We've lost sight of that. But back to Biden again. This guy, how is he supposed to deal with, Xi in China or Putin in Russia? Merkel. Is he going to meet up with the Queen? Every president's met up with the Queen of England. Is he going to meet up with her? How's that going to go? She's older than he is. And she's sharp as a tack. Oh. I don't think we're going to see Biden. We're going to see Biden doing a whole lot of meet and greets. Harris, I can see, which is that's a little disturbing, because that's not what you guys voted for, right? It's not, you guys didn't vote for Harris to be leader. You guys voted for Biden to be leader, or was it? Quite frankly, I think you guys would have voted for a turnip, because the hate was strong in you. This hate was strong in you when it came to Trump. And you got Biden. You gave us Biden. I saw a lot of attempts to turn Biden into this, people trying to turn Biden into this great leader. That because some people said that even because he served with Obama, that was going to give him the great leadership thing. But have you noticed how bizarrely quiet our progressive liberal friends have become since this has all gone down, since Biden has become and it's not just that the anger's gone because their anger's gone because Trump is gone, but they're not necessarily on the whole a Biden bandwagon thing right now, right? And partly because of clips like that. They see these things and they have to stay quiet. They can't share the same things that we share when we see those clips, because nobody wants to be responsible for, well, I'll just say it, nobody wants to be responsible for a mistake. And right now, I think they feel they've made a mistake when they voted for Biden. Now, some people will be honest and say, I did not vote for Biden. I voted against Trump. That I could respect more. That I can respect more. I think it was, a terrible decision, but I can respect you more if you're just honest and say, look, I would have voted for a rutabaga. It's not a smart decision for me. I didn't like Trump. His tweets were too much for me. His tweets were too much. So they have that going on. That they're being quiet about what they feel or what's going on with this particular president. Um, and again, clips like that are not helping them feel necessarily right in their decision. And now they're starting to see what's going on in the border, which is daily getting worse. They're talking about near the end of this month, they're going to reach capacity as far as um, contain. I was going to say containers. The reception centers. The reception centers. They're going to reach capacity, and they are going to have to blow out any COVID restrictions, particularly when it comes to the kids, because the adults pretty much get let go like immediately. The kids are only supposed to be held for 72 hours, but they can't move the kids because they just don't have the resources, the space to move the kids out of those containers. So the kids go into the containers. They will be packed on top of each other. And I'll tell you what, no one is doing a damn thing. No one is doing a damn thing down at the border. In 2013, Ted Cruz, the Blaze, Mercury One, I should say, Mercury One, Ted Cruz, handful of Republicans, some pastors, all went down to handle to look in and help. They physically went down to help. The food, clothing, blankets, soccer balls. They physically went down there and dug in to see what was going down at the border. They didn't put on a cute little white outfit with the latest in ankle boots and turn have modeling pictures of heartbreak, looking to the camera, sobbing, holding, bending over and stuff. They didn't do that. We all know who did that. But in 2013, that small group of people went down to see what was going on the border, and they said it was a debacle then, and it's arguably 10 times worse now. 10 times worse now. There was was it? I'll have to give you the numbers. I gave you some numbers yesterday, but the latest numbers I heard was last year. It was like 160,000 people. Was it like 160,000 people? Again, I hate to give you the numbers and they're not right, but the numbers have like tripled from January to March. The numbers last year are tripled this year. I believe it's just it's upsetting. It's upsetting what's going on down there, because we know in most of the cases that the kids that are being held in those containers, the policy goes back to Bill Clinton. And it's really not that bad of a policy. And I'll explain why. the kids are separated from the adults down there because when they cross the border, you do not know if the kids belong to those particular adults. Remember watching a clip of some lady just she was acting like she was excited to see her son and daughter. They couldn't have been more than like 5 and 3 or something like that. And the lady was started stroking the little boy's face. She was so happy to see him, so happy to see him. And the kid wanted nothing to do with it. He didn't know who that woman was. He didn't put his hands up. He didn't reach out, mommy. He didn't call. He didn't call mommy. He didn't reach out for his mother. This woman, stroking. Oh, my God, I've missed you so much. I've missed you so much. And she's stroking his face, and that's grooming. That's grooming. That's trying to get that child, that strange child, to go with this stranger woman. She's grooming him to say everything's going to be okay, little boy. Everything's going to be okay. She's stroking his face, talking soft, and saying things that a little kid would like to hear. I miss you. I love you. They're grooming these kids, and that is an endless cycle. At this point right now, the children are a commodity is just as important as drugs. Human beings in general crossing over the southern border are just as important as drugs. With the cartels, with the gangs south of the border. Because they sell them, they use them as mules. They sell them into sex slavery. They sell them into work, lower labor slavery. That is the heartbreak alone is enough to make you want to stop this, but we're not doing anything to stop it. In fact, we are encouraging it. Right now, we're encouraging these people to come over the border. It's gotten to the point where Mexico is, they were reinforcing their southern border. Now they have to go back at it again. Maybe we could say that they doubled down in 2019. We could say that they doubled down on reinforcing their southern border, Mexico's southern border, so that people couldn't necessarily just walk on through from South America. And so now right now they're talking about we got to triple down. And whatever the United States was doing to help Mexico hold down the fort, keep the masses back, that's gone now. So I'm not going to be one bit surprised if we see over 1 million people cross that border by the end of the year. Because they're coming in like 150,000, 200,000 people a month. So 1 million people over the border, not that far-fetched. Crossing into the United States, not that far-fetched. And the kids are being held in these containers, reception centers. And it's heartbreaking. But the policy of separating them is for the child's actual safety. But now we're putting the kids in danger. And we all know Mexico is having their own very prominent COVID issues, and they weren't talking about masks. Not that the masks were going to do anything anyway, but these kids are going to cross over the border, and it's not just COVID that you have to be concerned about. Just yesterday I mentioned Ebola is back, baby. Ebola is back. We've got people coming in from Africa. They stopped 25,000 people. They've stopped 25,000 people. 60% of them were from Africa. They stopped the Iranians, a group of Iranians, 11 Iranians, just not too long ago, trying to cross the southern border. So we've got a major issue going on. And again, goes back to I reiterate with our friends and family, they're ignoring this. They're ignoring this only because their top priority was to get Trump out of office. That was their top priority. They didn't like his tweets. He said, grab him by the. Meanwhile, we've got actual politicians that actually do that. He tells a bad joke to a friend at an inopportune time. He's mic'd up in a private moment. He tells a bad joke. That is the only proof, actual proof, that people have that he has been just absolutely a monster with women. Now, we know he was a womanizer. We know that. You know, well, there's allegations of, bad conduct with women. There's allegations, but there's no evidence. None. And they say, well, he wouldn't have paid. Well, yeah, you would. When you're rich and you can make somebody go away for a few bucks, you do that. It's just a thing. Because they're going to make things ugly, whether it's true or not. Ask Brett Kavanaugh how that went, how that goes. But anyway, the border crisis. Our friends and family, they're not talking about that either. They're not talking about Biden's cognitive abilities. They're not talking about the border. They're not talking about that. They're just happy that Trump's out of office. And soon we're going to have to start paying the bill. And people are starting to see the bill at the gas pump. Right now, they're ignoring that as well. And they're also ignoring this stinking stimulus package. Now, if somebody wants to give me $1,400, no one in my house is going to turn away $1,400. It's going to cost us each $17,000 in taxes to get that $1,400. And most of the people that will flip that bill will, of course, be the people that won't necessarily get to $1,400. I shouldn't say most of the people. I should say most of the money that will flip that $17,000 for us to get to $1,400. Most of the money will come from people that are probably not going to get the $1,400. Now, most of the people that'll be paying $17,000 for us to get this $1,400, because they say you have to pay it in taxes. And every time there's a fact checker that says, well, you don't have to pay it in taxes. Yes, you do. It may not be right there in front of you. It may not be on your, W-2 or, your HR 11, whatever. I don't know, tax codes or whatever. But it may not be right there in front of you. But you will be paying the $17,000 that goes into this stimulus package that was $1.9 trillion. The stimulus package, and we're getting $1,400. Plus, what's going into the the actual COVID, like the vaccines, the things to fight the actual virus that got us in this mess in the first place, about 1% of that. Now you can argue the dollars. You can argue the dollars are there's plenty enough dollars to get this taken care of. to get this taken care of. Here, I'll give you some numbers here. Additionally, the legislation allocates $20 billion. This is that stimulus package, and this is what it's going to take care of with COVID. Additionally, the legislation allocates $20 billion for national vaccine program, $50 billion for virus testing, $30 billion. As if we're going to, is the vaccine working or not? Because people are telling me the vaccine is working. Why are we doing the testing? Just give everybody the vaccine. Let's give the people that want the vaccine, get the vaccine. The testing is now unnecessary. You say, oh well, they're going to spread it. No, it's not the way things work. We shouldn't even be focusing on the testing anymore. Because if the numbers are diving down, and the vaccine is out there, and there's, oh, you should wear the mask after the vaccine because you may be asymptomatic. No, they already said that's not a thing either. So the people that don't get the vaccine at this point should be just as safe as the people that got this vaccine, because you're going to run into less people that are supposedly carrying the virus or are asymptomatic or what have you. So the testing, I'm not gonna knock the testing, but the $50 billion for the virus testing at this point, really, why another $50 billion in virus testing when the virus is going away, or it's going to be minimized, dramatically minimized by summer. Because if millions have gotten the vaccine at this point, because they were supposed to, you're doing 1 million a day, so at this point there should be, 50, 60 million people that have gotten the vaccine. I think we're sitting pretty. But the people that have gotten it, and it's gone. The people that got the vaccine, the people that got the virus, got the virus, and it's gone. The people that got the vaccine, on top of that, because some people did get the virus and still got the vaccine, on top of that, it's the world is safer at this point. The country is safer at this point. Don't drop your guard, but we're sitting pretty good. By the summer, the $50 billion of virus testing will be a huge waste of money. $30 billion of emergency rental assistance. I don't know, what is that, like tables and tents or something like that in order to get these viruses out? I don't know what that is. $10 billion for mortgage assistance. Okay, so that makes sense with the $30 billion. The rental assistance is that this isn't. You see, the money is already starting to go in a different direction. The $30 billion emergency rental assistance, that is now $30 billion that's going to landlords. The $10 billion for mortgage assistance, and a newly refundable child tax credit 2021 that would give families that qualify $33,000 per child ages 6 to 17, and $3,600 for children under 6 years old. So there's where that starts. There's where some of that money is going. So, in all honesty, what was that, like roughly $150 million, $150 billion. But the package is $1.9 trillion. $1.9 trillion. Pardon me. The frustration is setting in. $50 million. Here's where the money starts to get fun. $50 million for family planning nonprofit organizations like Planned Parenthood. I just swallow my pride on that one. $852 million for civic volunteer organizations, AmeriCorps, really? AmeriCorps Vista, and the National Senior Service Corps. $852 million. All right, we're not getting in the billions yet. $470 million for the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the National Endowment of the Arts and the Humanities. What does that have to do with COVID relief? Planned Parenthood. Killing babies and the endowment of the arts are in the virus relief bill. $128.5 billion to fund K through 12 education that the CBO estimates will be paid out between 2022 and 2028 after the pandemic is over. K through 12 should have never been closed. They knew as far back as a year ago that kids were not going to. We're almost reaching the anniversary of the we need 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Longest 2 weeks I've ever experienced in my life. We need 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and we're still in that 2 weeks. Longest 2 weeks. And kids, they knew far back as a year ago that kids were not going to be in the same danger zone as the elderly and the medically vulnerable, I'll call them. Schools should have never been closed. In fact, the kids should not even have to wear masks in the schools. If you're an elderly teacher or you have vulnerabilities, then maybe you should be wearing a mask because you have to wear a mask. The kids themselves do not have to wear masks. So my concern with saving with this education fund is it? Well, it's. I don't want to say it's necessary, but it's going to happen because we ruined the kids. We took them out of the schools. God knows how many lives we've messed up. How far back are these kids in their education? We've ruined these children, and some of them are going back, and they're not comfortable with the situation. Plexiglass, sitting by themselves, mask. It's not school, is it? It's not school, is it? But we're giving $128.5 billion to K through 12 when they should have never ever been closed. But the school system squeezed $128.5 billion out of the federal government. That's a plus, right? Right? If I'm in a teachers union, sure. $86 billion for pension plans, $50 billion for FEMA. $86 billion for for pension plans. All right, and no one really understands the status of FEMA, right? Because at one point, weren't they supposed to just like get rid of the whole program, FEMA program? But it is a government program, so that, yeah, like they were going to ever get rid of it. $86.1 billion for pension plans. Here's a quick lesson. It takes roughly 13 New York firefighters. It takes money for roughly 13 firefighters to handle the retirement plan of one firefighter. So, a little bit of money from those 13 guys, throw it all in a hat. Here, man, here's your allocation for the month. Here's your pension allocation. Here's your retirement for the month. So it takes roughly 13 firefighters to pay for that one retired firefighter's pension check. What happens when those 13 retire? Yes, of course. It's going to take another 13 to handle one of those retired firefighters. And then another 13 and another 13 to handle each one. So that is what the situation is with pension plans in like New York, California, stuff like that. You cannot sustain such a program, such a situation. So here comes the federal government doing anything and everything they can. And once again, the taxpayers in the entire country are bailing people in crappy situations out. So $86 billion, dollars for pension plans that in many cases have nothing to do with the rest of the country. The cities and states should be handling their business and come up with far better plans than just passing the buck when it comes to these pensioners. Not that these guys don't deserve their pensions, but the way things are getting done is unsustainable. $39.6 billion for colleges and universities. Why? Why do the colleges and another set of institutions that should have never been closed? Should have never been closed during this. In fact, I thought it was the dumbest thing to send these kids home from the universities to be when they knew that the vulnerable people were going to be people, 45 and up. So they're like, okay, well, if the young people could be asymptomatic, why would you send them home to their parents and their grandparents? Why would you do that? So $39.6 billion, as if the colleges really needed money. With the ridiculous prices the college is right now. As if they needed money. That's another thing that needs to change. Education should not be that high. And no, that does not mean that you excuse or what's the word they use? If you go to the school, you need to pay for it. It shouldn't be your debt shouldn't be wiped out. Simple as that. So if you go to the school and it costs a lot of money, your parents know. You say you go there for this, well, that's the only place I'm going to get that education. Well, that's a lie too, because the streets are full right now of a bunch of college kids who took on ridiculous classes like Russian literature, um, Black studies, white privilege studies, all of that completely unnecessary to get into the workforce. Why? Because they don't really want to do the work. So, $39.6 billion to colleges and universities, and $1.5 billion for Amtrak. Who is taking the train? $1.5 billion to Amtrak at this point. Wall Street Journal. I'm not even going to go there. I don't even know who's taking the train. Amtrak. $1.5 billion. Jeez. The Wall Street Journal editorial board estimated that 1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, only 825 billion was directly related to COVID-19 relief, and 1 trillion was an expansion of progressive programs, pork, and unrelated policy changes. So there's where we're at with our $1.9 trillion, our $1,400 checks that will cost us each $17,000. Once again, $1,400 will only cost us $17,000 out of our pocket. Fascinating. And look, let's get something to. I'm gonna give you a recent cancel culture story. I have to finish this on a light note because the news right now is breathtakingly frightening. Two women. It's a cancel culture story. This is by far one of the most heinous cancel culture stories I have seen yet. Listen to this. Two women in Burlington who make vegan cupcakes and donate to all the right things, right think charities have become the latest victims of the cancel culture. The, the story begins in 2012 when the mother and daughter team of Kelly Childs and Aaron Weatherby opened up a bakery in Burlington, Ontario, selling plant-based, gluten-free, peanut-free, dairy-free, egg-free, and vegan desserts, and apparently taste-free desserts. Their website describes the. No, I take that back. I have a few friends that have gluten issues, and I have one friend. She actually came up with a bunch of gluten recipes for her family, because her family has gluten free. So God bless you guys, because you're able to get baked goods, something that someone with gluten issues couldn't do. And how can you do without baked goods? Especially now. Where their website describes the bakery as an inclusive place where everyone can indulge guilt-free in any of their mouth-watering desserts. And it was hard for me to say, because God bless you for making this stuff. I'm not seeing the whole mouth-watering thing happening here. In 2014, the two women signed a deal with Penguin Random House to produce a book called Made with Love, containing more than 100 plant-based dessert recipes. The book offers details on how to create chocolate monkey pancakes, chocolate monkey pancakes, you heard me right, cumin scented cornbread, and eggless quiche. All while doing out the wisdom of the two women on how they live their life and why they are vegans. So far, so good, huh? We're starting to get a picture on who these two ladies are. And they seem harmless. They're vegans. They're okay, right? They don't seem to be pushing their lifestyle. Those are the ones that we have an issue with. Pushing their lifestyle. They don't seem to be doing that. They just say, "Hey, our lifestyle is good. We're going to give you reasons to try it by making yummy, delicious vegan baked goods. And here's a recipe book on how to do that if you want to be a vegan as well." The book sold as well, so well that in 2017 there was another contract for so their book sold really well. They got another contract, follow-up book that was moving along well, and then everything else, like everything else, COVID hit and happened. The book was delayed to 2021 released, but to a 2021 release. But the company was excited about the manuscript they had until they got some complaints. Here's the complaints. On June 2nd, 2020, the Instagram account for Kelly's Bake Shop participated, the ladies' bake shop. Kelly's Bake Shop participated in a Blackout Tuesday on Instagram. Right? That's when everybody was supposed to put the little black square on their Facebook profile because, George Floyd, because like I said, they were the right thing kind of things. They're vegans, they're lefty, they they're doing all the right things. They got the black box because, we care, Black Lives Matter kind of thing. So, yeah, they put the Blackout Tuesday, they put the little black box as their profile. First, they posted the inspiring quote from Martin Luther King Jr. "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." This is what they posted. A Dr. King quote. In addition to that, they explained that they were standing up to racism in the wake of George Floyd's death. They're not the only ones that did that, of course. All of this accompanied with the Blackout Tuesday black square on the Kelly's Bake Shop Facebook page. The two posts have received more than 1,200 likes on Instagram, which is fantastic for a little bake shop that's not selling good baked goods. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. Not bad. Not a bad tally for a bakery, right? But they also generated some nasty comments. All right, I'm gonna read one more time. I'm gonna read what they posted. It was a Martin Luther King quote: "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." In the Blackout Square. They received nasty comments. 1,200 likes, and they received nasty comments. Welcome, cancel culture. Kelly and Aaron were accused of performative allyship. Performative allyship. If you're questioning what that is, I mean, in the two words, sure, fine. I can give you a definition. But if you've never heard that before, you are not the first person. meaning that they did not really care about the issue of racism. They were just trying to profit. Profit off of it. That was one of the nice comments. Others claimed the pair were racist, homophobic, had the wrong political beliefs, and lots of nasty personal comments. When they deactivated the comments, they actually deactivated the comments on the post. They were accused of silencing black voices. So they said, you guys are trying to profit out of it. You're racist, you're homophobic. They said all these things. And then they were like, well, this did not go the way I wanted to. So they took the post down, and then they came at him with, you're trying to silence black voices. They lost the book deal for the second book. They lost business. They were, now they're shunned. And they were doing exactly what they needed to do. Now, come to find out that some of the nasty tweets were coming from actual competitors. They were coming from competitors, other bakeries that wanted to get rid of them, obviously. But they've pretty much lost everything. So that goes to prove to you, to all white people, live your life. If someone calls you racist and you're not, that's fine. You do not have to accept that. But I'm telling you, just live your life. Ignore it. Because you cannot win. Because even if you have a certificate from a black organization that says, I am not racist, from Black Lives Matter, if you had a certificate that says, Black Lives Matter says I'm not racist, that is not up to you. That's not up to you. You are racist because you're white. That's their story. If you are not black or brown, you are just racist. So again, white people, you cannot fix this one. This one is not. They need you to accept, yes, I am racist. You'd probably be better off if you just say, yes, I am racist. There's hardly anything I can do about it. And then go about your business. You'd be better off. Because right now, there's no fixing it. That bake shop did everything that the progressives want you to do. And everything got turned around on them. So, again, let it go. Whitey, white, whitey. It's true, though. You're not going to win. You're not going to win this argument. And I know that you're like, I'm not going to let them call me racist, and God bless y'all. But that's not what they're selling right now. And it goes as far up to the White House. It's a marketing tool right now for the left. It just is. So, that was a rough one. From the scary inabilities of the President of the United States to canceling people that are actually a part, that actually probably even agree with cancel culture. No one is safe. Our country's not safe. Our dollars, our earned dollars are not safe. We've got a crappy $1.9 trillion going everywhere except to, I shouldn't say except to, but what I can say is that it didn't need to cost $1.9 trillion to give everybody $1,400. Or to even, pay their rent or their mortgage, emergency mortgage, whatever. Whose it was. But really, baby killing in the endowment of the arts. The relief package should have been like, we should have never closed. We should have opened up immediately. If we were going to close, we should have opened up immediately after the 2 weeks. Get out of our way. That would have been the real stimulus package. I'll leave you with that. Ada Jet Noise, YouTube, Rumble, my family, thank you. My Rumble family, thank you. And if you haven't joined me on Rumble, please do. Please do. Because I can make an impact on Rumble. The more I do this, the more I can make an impact, and the more Rumble will love me. MeWe, Facebook, Parler, YouTube, Rumble. C, Ada Jet Noise, ADA Jet Noise. The great thing about my show is that you don't even have to watch my mug. You can just turn me on in the background and just listen. I do these like a radio show. Again, like I said, we're learning. I'm learning. You're watching this process of me learning how to do this as we learn about the world together. I inform you with the things that I find as a libertarian, and I give you it to you from a libertarian and conservative. I welcome the left and the liberal and the progressive point of view, because I do not have to be right. I just have to start the conversation. And I'll leave you at that. Thank you again for joining me. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow morning with some more wackiness, madness, and information about what's going on in the world today. Until then, big hug, be good, be still, enjoy your life.